Developing tonight, some tense moments between a medical helicopter and an air traffic controller at Dulles International Airport.
Yeah, so at around this time on Tuesday, the medical helicopter was flying over the airport on its way to Reston Hospital.
The air traffic controller gave the chopper instructions, but the pilot appears to become confused. And then this.
I'm not sure what you want me to do. Aircare 1, I was very clear. I said remain west of 1 right, and then I said hold between 1 center and 1 right. Very clear instructions. I never gave you a turn to go back westbound, and I never said west of the field. Proceed eastbound now on course. Traffic departure and airborne is E190. Eastbound on course. I'm not trying to have a DCA incident here, sir. That's why I got to keep you separated from aircraft, since you can't climb.
Oh yeah, the FAA says the report was not filed in connection with this, but it comes as there is a heightened focus on the safety of air travel, of course, after several high-profile incidents in recent months.
Yeah, joining us now to discuss is Todd Yeary. He is a seasoned and former air traffic controller. Todd, thanks for coming in. When you listen to this, and you've had some experiences of your own, but you hear this in the recording. What does that sound of stress tell you about what's occurring?
Well, the first thing it tells me is that January 29th is still foremost in the minds of many controllers, particularly in the Washington area.
And he said as much.
He said as much.
Yeah.
That becomes very, very clear. There are triggers that come up as we go through this time. Helicopter on frequency, active around departing runway. Does this put me in a position where things that are normally not similar seem to be made very parallel? And so I think there is this kind of hyper focus that this thing is just like another thing, and it leads to, I think, a lot of misunderstanding that weren't necessarily appropriate, but it also lends to a teachable moment, both for the controllers, but also for the interaction with the users of the system.
All right, so you say it wasn't appropriate and this was a teachable moment. So what should have been done in this case?
Well, there are a couple of things that come up. First thing I'm listening for is the instruction. I hear that there's an active departing runway. There's a request for the medevac helicopter pilot to climb to 2,000 feet. The pilot says, I don't think I can do that. They then come up with an alternative, stay west of runway 1 right. Then there's some uncertainty. Where do you really want me to be in terms of steering clear of this active airspace? And so there's a bit of back and forth there. What becomes tense is the after part of it. What happens after we get this clarity? And now there is this questioning. I've never heard of a helicopter that couldn't climb to 2,000 feet. What's going on? That's where it says there's something else kind of feeding into this moment.
You could have a patient and, altitude may interfere with the treatment, right?
Any number of things. It could be a limitation to the helicopter's functioning that day. We don't know. What we do know is that the pilot says, I'm operating medevac. He's entitled to priority assistance, safety being the priority concern. And I think in the course of this, that gets lost, right? And so what we do is we have to remember that there's still hypersensitivity from January at Reagan, but there's also an opportunity to make sure that we don't cross-contaminate, if you will, from one situation to another. And sometimes it's hard. I started wondering, but what happened this situation before that? How busy had it been? Is there some carryover, and how long, how many days had this controller worked? All of those are factors that I would want to kind of fully understand why there may have been what some might see as a relatively short fuse in dealing with a medevac helicopter pilot just trying to get priority assistance to get to the hospital.
We've got about 30 seconds left. As you know, we've been talking about these incidents with frequency, to be honest, these incidents with planes and landings and air traffic controllers. And so for folks who their anxiety is heightened because of what is happening and they've got a flight coming up, I know you always give us perspective about safety. Where should we be? What should we be thinking about, even as all these things are occurring?
Well, think about this. It is still the safest airspace in the world. That's number one. Number two, issues come up in any system where there's human participation. We have to be able to respond to that. And then to also be aware, be situationally aware as they are traveling, as they are flying, and recognize that you've got highly trained crews, you've got highly trained controllers on the other end of the frequency, and so that is part of the national airspace system to get folks from where they are to where they want to be every single day.
Okay. We'll remember those words during our next flight.
We sure will.
Todd Yeary, we always appreciate it. Thank you for
Always
coming in.
good to be with you.
Good to see you.